Alright, so I'm going to show how to replace the battery on this MacBook Pro model A1398 2012 model. So you're going to need a Pentalobe 1.2 or a P5 screwdriver, and then you also need a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Alright, so first we're going to remove all the screws on the bottom. You want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them on my desk with the flat side down, just like that, in the pattern that I remove it. Okay, so you see like 4 along here, put it like that. You'll see 2 here, put it like that, and then 4 more along the bottom. So just that's how I do it. If you mix them up already, just know that the 2 back here in the center are actually shorter than the rest, but it's always a good idea to put the same screw back where you got it, even if they look exactly the same. All right, so just get all those screws out. Alright, sometimes the computer manufacturers or Apple, they like to use screws that look to be the same, but then there's some very slight differences, and you can't really tell until it's too late and you throw them all together. So it's always a good idea, keep them in order. Alright, I'm most likely going to have to clean up dust inside here, but for now we're just going to be removing the bottom cover. Depending what I see inside, if it's dusty, I'm going to pause the video, clean it up, and then I'll be back. Alright. Just remove all these screws, just like this. Alright, so once we got all those screws out, you can go on the back here with your fingers, and then you can just pull the cover up. This one actually uses magnets, and wow, that's super dusty inside. I don't know if you can tell from the video, but it's super dusty. So I'm going to clean this up, and I will be back. Alright, so the next time you see this computer, it's going to be nice and clean. Alright, so I'm back, brushed off the inside and blew it out. It's a lot cleaner now, not 100% clean, but way better than before. Okay, so this is one of the models where you have to kind of lift the speaker up and scrape underneath. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so let's make sure this is nice. One thing I noticed, this magnet here actually popped out. So it's supposed to be in this little hole here. So I'm going to put this back. So let's see here. So what I'm going to do, pull the magnet out. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to just slide this back in. Okay, so the magnet actually has a rounded edge, and that rounded edge, of course, it goes into that rounded part there. Okay, I don't know if there's a right side up or a right side down. I don't really see much hints of glue or anything that holds it in place. I'm not sure if they use a glue or what to hold that in place, but anyways, I'm gonna just use some super glue here. Let me clean this off. Okay, so we're just gonna put a tiny amount into there. Okay, so I don't know if I should zoom in on here. This is not really a repair that most people would need to do, but might as well. Okay, just put a drop in there. Okay, just like that. I'm going to close it up. Okay, and we're going to just get that, push that into place. It might be a little tricky because the other magnet, but just get it in there. Oops, that's going to be tough. Uh-oh, it's going to stick to itself. So these magnets, actually, you have to put it straight, lined up to get it back into place. You can't put it at an angle. There we go. So I'm going to put that. I'm going to clean this off before it sticks everywhere. Okay. And then super glue, of course, you want to hold it for like 15 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever. Excuse me. Depending what kind of super glue you're using. Of course, you want to make sure you don't accidentally stick your finger on there. So hopefully you wiped off all the excess glue. Okay. Anyways, that's not the important part. We're going to go back to replacing the battery. Okay. So what we're going to do to disconnect the battery, we're going to have to undo this connector. Actually, let me leave it zoomed in a bit. Okay, so what you do up here, you can actually see the lip where this connects. It's underneath that plastic cover. If you want, you can peel this sticker off because we will end up transferring it over to the other one. So let's do that actually. You don't have to transfer this sticker over, but I like to do it just so it looks nicer. Okay, so peel this off. There's still some sticker residue holding it. Here we go. All right, once you get that sticker off, again, you can see the lip of the battery connector. So I just go underneath and I just pull it up like that. All right, just like this, okay? You can use plastic pry tools or whatever, but just know you're just lifting this plastic part. You don't want to be lifting down here. I've had some customers that brought me their computer after they ripped that off and that kind of thing. Excuse me. That kind of thing I'm not able to repair. I do have someone I work with that is able to repair those, but I'm not able to. Or maybe I can, I just never really worked on doing that. Anyways, now we're going to switch to a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, and we're just going to remove the 2 screws on both speakers, okay? Again, you want to keep the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths, and if you mix them up, you can actually damage something, okay? So keep them in order. All right, come on, screw. There we go. All right, get this screw out. And this screw out. All right, once you get all those screws out, we're gonna go ahead and use a thin tool, flexible like this. All right, this is the easiest way to get this kind of stuff out. I've had some people, they use knives. You don't want to use knives. This tool is like very flexible and it's not sharp at all, so the chance that you damage anything is very minimal, okay? And also this tool, it wasn't on purpose, but prying stuff open, I actually bent it a little bit. So actually now, like when I use the tool, I can scrape underneath. Instead of scraping it this, I can turn it. So when you scrape underneath, it actually goes, like everything goes underneath. There's no way that it will like puncture into the battery. Okay. If you have a metal tool like that, you can actually put a bend in it on purpose to make it have that effect. It basically will act as like a better like scraping tool. All right, so anyways, what we're doing, I'm lifting the speaker up here. Usually this is dirty, and yes it is, so actually let me clean that as well. Just get the toothbrush, brush that off. All right, and then I'm gonna use this to blow the air out of it, or the dust. All right, we're gonna do the same thing with the other side. Okay, just pull this up slightly, brush that off. I'm likely going to have to brush underneath the battery as well. There's still some dust in there a little bit. Alright, so there we go. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and use this tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to lift the speaker up. You don't want to lift it too high or you can crack this thing, and that's where the flexibility of the tool helps really well. As you can see, I can get it right underneath here, and then what I can do is I can just push the tool and it will cut underneath the adhesive. So I'll show you what it's cutting once I get everything out, but you just go along like this, move the tool slightly over, all right, and then continue, same thing, all the way across. This kind of adhesive on these older models, if I remember correctly, it's not gonna peel off easily. So once I do this, I'm very likely going to have to like scrape all the old adhesive out. It's like an easier to cut adhesive, but to remove the residue, so that when you put the new battery it holds in place, is going to be kind of a pain. So let me show you what it looks like underneath here. Okay, so let's see if I can show this. So under here you can see the adhesive residue there, and it's just like this foam. So there's two layers of, there's a foam and it's 2 layers of adhesive stuck to it, and that's what is actually getting cut. We're just cutting the foam. All right, so now what we're going to do, we don't need to go under the speaker anymore, so I put that down. We're going to move this pack slightly up. You don't want to just rip it out because it's connected down here, and if you try and rip it out, you can actually damage something. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention that I didn't say earlier, but after disconnecting the battery, if you want to be extra safe, it's not too important for this repair, but press and hold the power button for 10 to 15 seconds. That will drain any power from the board. So that way there's a lot less risk of shorting something out if you accidentally drop something metal on the board. But again, this isn't important to do when you're replacing the battery. It's more of a safety precaution, just in case. If you're not careful or you don't know what you're doing and you accidentally touch something here, then there's a lot less risk if you do that. All right, so we're just going to continue cutting the adhesive here. Okay, and also having a longer tool like this is nicer. When you go to cut this adhesive, there's actually a raised metal part here for the trackpad, so you don't have to worry about pushing the tool too far. It'll actually hit the metal wall, and then you won't be able to actually pry that far anyways. So once you get over here, there's this raised metal piece here with the speaker, so I kind of just angle the blade like this, And then once you get as much of the adhesive cut as you can go ahead and actually use the tool to kind of pry up the rest. And there we go. So now we got that out. All right, so we got this side done. We're gonna rotate it and we're gonna do the other side. Same thing, pull the speaker up. I use my thumb here to pull it up. You can get underneath, okay, just like this. Get the tool, and same thing, we're just gonna go ahead and cut the adhesive under here. Oops. Okay, just like that. Right, move the thing over, cut the adhesive again, move the thing over some more, cut that. All right, and just keep going. There we go. So we got this one out. Again, put the speaker back down. If you want, you can actually put the speaker screws back right now. But again, now we're just gonna continue cutting the adhesive. Okay, just like this, slowly sliding over. Okay. Once you get good at this, you can actually do this a lot faster. So as you can see, I'm actually doing it quite a bit faster. All right, so once you get to here, you can actually use this to pry it up as well. There you go. Okay, so we got both those out. I'm actually gonna put back the speaker screws now. These are the T5 screws. If you're wondering, this screw has the threads all the way down. And then the ones towards the center here, excuse me, they have like these flat spots here with a little bit of the screw threads on it, okay? Just in case you happen to mix them up, hopefully that will help you. All right. And then now we're gonna actually, it doesn't matter the order of this, but I'm gonna take out the T5 screws for the battery. You can do it after you kind of pry up everything, but I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so there's 2 screws here. We're gonna just remove those 2, okay? All right. Okay, and you have to remove these 2 T5 screws or you can't remove the battery, okay? Once you remove those 2 screws, you'll see that you can actually kind of lift this up slightly, okay? So that's how you know that the battery is gonna be able to come out. All right, so now what we're gonna do, again, this has like a raised lip here, so let me kind of zoom in and show this a little bit better. So what happens is when you lift this up, let me see if I can show this. So you can see the raised metal bar here, and that's where the trackpad is. So when you go to scrape this out or cut the adhesive, you have to lift the tool slightly higher than just resting against the metal, okay? So you go up like this, and then you kind of lift the tool up slightly. I don't know if you can tell, so right now it's down, and then you kind of lift it slightly, get underneath, all right? And you wanna be careful, you wanna actually use the tool and cut slightly this way, because if you go straight this way, there's some cabling over here, and if you're not careful, you can actually cut those cables, okay? So again, you wanna kind of tilt it over slightly down towards this side, towards the front of the MacBook, all right? And then we'll just continue cutting down, all right? Just like that. And these packs can kind of get in the way, so just know that you kind of have to be careful with that, because if you do smash into it, you can actually risk damaging the wiring here, and you might even cause a fire, okay? So just be careful with that. And we're just gonna continue cutting this. I actually had a customer tell me that they're on their way, so I might have to pause the video and continue in a bit, but let me see here. I'm gonna keep doing as much as I can. Okay. All right. So this middle one is more of a pain. If you have a longer tool, it will make it a little bit easier, but yeah, pretty much just keep going down. I do have a longer, wider one, but I haven't been using that in a while, so I'm gonna just stick with one tool so that way most people can kind of see. Okay. With just using one tool. Okay, we're gonna keep going. If you want, you can tilt it down more now. All right, and there we go. We got this one all the way out. As you can see, it's loose. We're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, all right? Lift these battery packs up. Again, make sure if you have the bend in your thing that you're not using it upside down. Okay, and we're just gonna continue cutting the adhesive out here. Okay. sorry, my head's getting in the way. I didn't notice. I don't know how long that was happening, but all right, we're just going to continue cutting this adhesive out. All right. Going. All right. And sometimes you can actually slice the thing over sideways. Okay, there we go. So now we got all the adhesive cut. So what we're going to do now is just lift the battery pack out. Okay, I am going to have to get my plastic razor blade over here so that I can cut all the adhesive stuff out easier. But anyways, now that we got the batteries all cut, you can lift it all up like this. You want to try and lift them all up at the same time, and then slide it forward just like that, and there we go. So here you can see the old battery. We cut that, and we're going to just toss that aside. You want to be careful with that, not to puncture it, because there is risk that you can cause a fire. So let me see. I think this is the harder to remove adhesive. I don't know if the plastic one will work. Yeah, this is the one that kind of just tears up. I'm going to get the plastic razor blade, and I'll be back. I'm going to respond to a customer as well. So I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll be back when I have all of that. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, sorry about that. I had a customer picking up their computer, and it took a little while. But anyways, I got the plastic scraper tool. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and scrape this stuff up. And it doesn't look like this is going to work. So I am going to have to use the metal tool. And this is kind of a pain. You're welcome to just fast forward over all of this. I try and like talk about stuff while I'm doing this. So if there's anything, I don't know, you might miss out some talking points. But if your main goal is just to get this thing fixed, probably don't need to worry about it. Anyways, this thing is always a pain. The 2012 one. Technically, you don't need to scrape out all this stuff. If you want, you can leave it without removing the adhesive and just leave the battery pack as all one piece. So when they ship it, they actually put some stuff to prevent the adhesive from sticking on everything. And if you want, you can actually leave all of that on the battery. So that way, when you go to replace it, it's easier next time. But I don't know, this 2012 model, usually doesn't have too much life left software wise, because Apple's slowly gonna eventually stop supporting this one, I believe. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna scrape this as best as I can, and we're just gonna stick the battery on. Okay, so I don't want the battery to be rattling around. Usually you can also add like a piece of foam between the battery and the cover if you want, if you don't want to remove the adhesive. But usually customers, I think, wouldn't like if I do that, so I just stick it back down the way it was intended. The only thing is it's kind of a pain getting all this adhesive out. So I just keep scraping up all this foamy stuff. And then after that, we're going to have to use some isopropyl alcohol to remove the residue. Okay. Just like this. Okay, I'm trying to work on this fast because the customer is actually waiting for me to finish it. They're outside, so I don't want to keep them waiting too long. Okay. Alright, keep scraping this stuff. Alright. Just like that. Scrape up all this old adhesives. I don't know why Apple has to make these new computers so much of a pain. The newer ones are basically the same thing. Some of them, they actually make the motherboard cover part of the battery, so you even have to take the motherboard out just to get these batteries replaced, which is kind of stupid, but I don't know. I guess they figured if people pay a lot for the Apple device, they can pay a lot for the repairs. I don't know what's going on. So they just make it difficult. Alright. There we go. Get all this adhesive residue out. Alright, let's flip this over. Luckily some of this came up with the battery, so it's not too bad here. Continue scraping. And the reason why the flat tool doesn't work, the plastic scraper, is because actually the metal casing here, it flexes a little bit. So when I actually go to put pressure to scrape it, it actually bows downwards, and the plastic scraper is not good at following the metal as it bows downwards. So yeah, all right, so we're gonna rotate this, continue scraping this stuff off. We'll see if I have enough time. I told the customer it would take me about half an hour. It looks like I have enough time. I try not to give too little time for myself, so to work on these things. I notice my business is slowly getting less and less. I don't know if it's because all the YouTube videos I'm making. I have been told by several customers. I think this customer also told me that he enjoyed my videos, so probably with all the YouTube videos I'm making, I'm causing myself to lose a lot of business. Hopefully the other computer repair businesses aren't going to be mad at me, because basically I'm causing a lot of us to lose work. So hopefully if you guys have repairs, you can kind of take that into account, that the computer repair places used to have more work, but because I'm helping people fix their stuff now, they're probably going to have to charge more for the harder repairs that they're going to be stuck with only. So because I'm helping people fix other repairs, then pretty much everyone's going to be stuck only able to repair either really hard repairs, or that, or the repairs will end up being too expensive that it ends up everyone either fixes it or just buys a new computer. Which, I mean, why not? If everyone can fix their own computers, then that'd be kind of nice. The only thing is that we're gonna have to find new jobs, so yeah, this one is a little bit tricky. How do I come on? There we go. Okay, let's flip this over. I'm going to end up knocking the screw, so I need to be careful. Alright, so all these, there's some iFixit videos and things like that where, I don't know if this is from iFixit, but I ordered a battery from OWC, and they actually tell you to take the entire motherboard out of the computer to do this, and I think they like soak it with some adhesive removal liquid, which I guess it makes it so you don't have to scrape up all this stuff like what I'm doing, but that makes the job way more difficult. So maybe they do it on purpose so that people will actually send it to a professional to do it, instead of attempting it themselves and then something end up going wrong, like they end up starting a fire or something. But yeah. Alright, I'm going to continue scraping this. This one's kind of being a pain. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now we just got to get the middle one. This one's kind of a pain too. And this one's a little bit worse because this metal plate flexes more. This metal plate, you can actually take it out, and then you can, if you want, you can actually soak it in some kind of adhesive remover, because this separates. It's kind of a pain to remove and put back, but yeah, so I just leave it and scrape it off. And also there's adhesive on the other side, so to only get it to affect this is kind of a little tricky, so I just scrape it all off and then just rub it with rubbing alcohol. All right, we're gonna be cutting it pretty close to that 30 minutes, I think. Okay, come on. Turn this around. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Okay, again, you're welcome to just fast forward through all of this. I'm just going to be scraping all this stuff off. It's kind of a pain. I don't like fast forwarding through stuff because I like people to be able to see how much work and effort goes into removing this kind of stuff. How much of a pain this kind of stuff is. I don't know why Apple does this. Or I do know why Apple does it. It's because they don't want people to work on their stuff. But, yeah. Okay, we're almost there. Go. Man, my finger's hurting from doing this. And oh, here are the cables I was mentioning. This is the trackpad cable, and then you got the keyboard cable that runs underneath and goes to here. This is kind of the worst design for the keyboard cable. I don't know why Apple did that on that one. They did change it in the newer ones to be not as bad, but it's still kind of bad. Almost there. We got 3 out of the 6. Okay. Ooh, I'm working up a sweat from doing this. Okay, continue. I need to get a better tool that's made for this kind of job, because the way I have to hold this blade, my fingers kind of grip the edges and it kind of hurts. I don't know what kind of tool would be better for this thing, but so far this is the best tool I found for doing this kind of repair. Okay. All right. And you don't want to put too much pressure because you don't want to crack the trackpad through the back of this. Okay. All right. Last one. My finger's hurting. All right, I think we got all of that. So now we're gonna go ahead and clean off the residue. So to do that, we need a paper towel and some isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Okay, so we're gonna get some 91%. You won't be able to kind of clean everything off 100%, but we'll just do the best we can. So just get a piece of paper towel. I like to fold it up, and then just wet it with the rubbing alcohol. Okay, and then you kind of just rub the adhesive stuff out. Okay, depending how bad it is, it might be stuck on there real good. You can kind of soak up the paper towel really well and kind of just clean it. But you don't want the rubbing alcohol to be so much that it starts getting into all the other electronic components. Okay, so yeah, just be careful with it. All right. Cleaning this, and we might have to use like multiple pieces or fold it around just to get underneath. If you get some stubborn pieces of the adhesive, you can go ahead and use the scraper and kind of just scrape it a little bit. That will kind of thin out the adhesive. All right, so that way when you go ahead and rub it again, it should come out a lot easier. Okay, just like that. All right, so now I'm gonna fold it over the other way so there's no adhesive residue on it. Get some more rubbing alcohol on there. Go ahead and clean that up. And also it helps, like, you can kind of just get the residue wet a little bit and then again just scrape it up. As you can see, it kind of gets a lot more gunky when you wet it with the rubbing alcohol. Okay. Alright, just clean it the best you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Be careful with these cables that you don't accidentally knock them. Alright, we're going to flip it over some more. Fold it the other way. Get some more rubbing alcohol on here. Okay. Clean this all off best we can. Right. Scrape that stuff up some more. This one's kind of tough. I don't know why this side has the residue a lot stronger than the rest. There we go. Wipe it up. Okay, we got most of it out. We're gonna get a new clean piece of paper towel. Same thing, fold it. All right. Get the rubbing alcohol all soaked in there. Clean it all off. Again, I'm not sure why this part is so much more stuck there. There we go. Okay, clean up this better. Just try and get as much of the residue off as you can. Doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but just do it as well as you can to make sure that the battery can stick on well. All right. Okay. Looks like we're pretty much there. This stuff will never be completely cleaned. Okay. All right, let's fold this back over again. Let's try and clean this and see if we can make some clean, smooth lines. All right. And then usually this, I think it might just be scratches in it. It might not be the actual residue of the stuff. Yeah, oh, there's a little bit residue. So we'll get one more clean one. We'll do this one more time. Okay, and we'll just clean that off. Yeah, the rest of the remaining stuff on there is actually just scratches from scratching off the adhesive. So just get the rest of this. Okay, so there we go. Now we're gonna put the battery back in, or the new battery. Excuse me. All right, so the new battery will usually come like this with this plastic thing here, and then you got that. So the battery would slide here. And what I was saying earlier, if you want, you don't have to actually remove the adhesive, because you can drop the battery in and then just, excuse me, install it like that. But I don't like leaving it like that, so we're going to install it properly. If you do, you're gonna have to make sure this is cut properly or aligned properly. It's sticking out a little bit. But anyways, we're gonna make sure, we're gonna just check this would drop in place. Okay, looks good. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna peel this off, okay? Just the back one, you wanna leave the top piece in. Okay, so we're gonna get this lined up, slide it under, make sure you don't drop it yet. Okay, slowly lower it down. I'm probably gonna have to block it with my head, but I'm gonna make sure those screw holes line up. Okay, and then you can drop it in place just like that. We got the battery in. You can go ahead and press that down if you want. All right, so make sure those screw holes are properly aligned again. We're gonna put the T5 screws that hold that into place. Okay, just like this. Okay, get the other one. I didn't tighten it down all the way yet. I just put it loosely at first. All right, get this one, tighten that in. There we go. Okay, once you got all the screws in, again, this you can actually wait to press it down because you want to make sure this will fit properly. Okay, so because if it doesn't and you messed it up, now you're not gonna be able to put this in. So the cable usually comes straightened out. You kind of have to fold it so that it kind of curves up like that. And then what you want to do is line up the corner. Let me zoom in here to make it easier to see. So usually, usually what I do is I line up the corner, okay, like one corner here, and get that. And then once you get the one corner, you can go ahead and line up the other one, and then just push that down. All right, so there we go. We got the battery in place. You can put this piece back on top if you want, just to make it look like the Mac battery thing. Line that up, and then push that in place. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and put the cover back on. Let's zoom out. Oh, actually, let's test it real quick. We're gonna have to peel this off as well. So what you're gonna wanna do, of course, actually, if you want, we'll put the cover on first. This is safer so that when you rest it on your desk, there's no risk of it shorting anything out. All right, flip it over, open it up. All right, and we're gonna have to do a PRAM and SMC reset on this thing. So what you do, let's get the plug here. Oop, where's the magnetic one? I got too many plugs. Okay, so get the plug it in, make sure the light is showing properly. So it'll show orange if it's not 100%. I'm gonna hold the option key right now because I didn't want it to boot. This will bring up the boot menu options. So there you can see it shows the hard drives. I'm going to turn this off actually. So first I'm going to do is the SMC reset. You can do this while it's on. So to do an SMC reset, what you do is Control Option Shift on the left side, and then you press the power button. If you do it right, you want to make sure that your thing is either on this boot menu or completely off. Don't leave your computer running when you do this. Like in the operating system, you don't want it in there. So Control Option Shift, all right, power button. You'll see the orange light go to green, all right? And then that's how you know you did the SMC reset right. I'm gonna hold the Option key again because I don't want it to boot all the way. So that's how you know you did the SMC reset right. It'll go to green and then back to orange. If your battery's already like almost fully charged, it'll already be green. So you can actually drain the battery some before doing this just to make sure. All right, so I'm gonna do SMC reset one more time, and then I'm gonna quickly do a PRAM reset, which is Command Option P and R while the computer's booting up. You can do it while you're powering the computer on, or you can do it right after the SMC reset if it turns itself on. All right, so I'm gonna do that. All right, and then you'll hear the chime, and then Command Option P and R. You don't have to wait for the chime, but you'll see the computer turns itself off, and then it turns itself back on. And usually when you do the PRAM reset, if you had the volume like to the minimum or off or lower, it'll actually reset the volume to the max. And that's how you know you did the PRAM reset correctly. All right, I'm gonna make sure that their computer logs in. All right, oops, let me see here. Let's go off the screen. Just wanna make sure, okay, and it logged in quickly, it looks good. And the battery shows. It's not showing the consider replacing battery anymore, so that's good. And it shows the calculating time until full. Also, they were having charging issues earlier, but it works a lot better now. The light immediately goes to green, like before the light wasn't charging. I cleared out some debris from there and now it's good. But anyways, that's pretty much all there is to it. We're gonna put back the screws. I'm gonna shut this down. All right, so I'm gonna put back the screws. I'm gonna leave this running or charging while I'm putting back the screws, so that way they can have a more fully charged battery once I return it. But yeah, let's put back the bottom screws. Oh, that reminds me. Don't forget to peel off this clear piece here, okay? So just get underneath. To peel this clear piece off, what you do, once you get a corner, you want to roll it back like this. Don't pull it straight up because it can separate layers in the battery. You just want to roll it back like this, okay? All right, that's the best way to remove this kind of plastic film from these batteries. There we go. And yeah, so now we just put this back on top. Okay, make sure it's lined up. And the magnets, for some reason the magnet doesn't hold as nice. I think what it is the newer, or these replacement batteries, they put a foam here to make sure the connector doesn't come out, and it bows it out a little bit, which it's not an issue because these screws will hold it all the way around, and that will also make sure that the battery doesn't come loose. So we're going to leave that foam. If anything, you can remove that foam if you want, but yeah, the foam helps keep the battery connector in place. All right, so anyways, we'll put back the rest of the screws, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, hope this video helped you guys. If it did, please like, subscribe, share this with your friends. You don't have to share this specific video, but share my channel. Help them see that they can actually repair their computers or upgrade them too. They don't have to go somewhere and have it done. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. You're welcome to stay till I finish putting back all the screws. But that's pretty much it. All right. Oops. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.